I'm quickly doing this video hiding in my room because my 2-year-old is about to come home and he's incredibly busy. So I've locked the door and quickly set some time aside. I know it's um, 4:20 at the moment, so I apologize for the lateness. My life has been incredibly hectic up until this point. So I'm quickly doing give you a rundown of what I'm saying. Um, Taking a video of myself is actually putting me a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm so excited to give this talk the attention it deserves. So I'm pretty much going to go on stage and be myself. I'm a little bit reserved and self-conscious, as you would notice from this video, but I cannot wait to share my story, and I really hope that it touches other people to open their minds into a different perspective. So I'm going to walk on stage and take a selfie of myself, and I'm going to turn to everyone sitting at the event and say, now some of you might be thinking, did she really take a selfie, or why did she just do that? Some of the main driving forces I see on how digital media works, influences users, and what influences users on social media platforms include peer recognition, fashion and new trends, user-generated content, and user engagement. So by taking a selfie today and posting it on my social media platforms, I aim to meet those targets. My content normally surrounds my daily life, meals and snacks I prepare, and how I engage my son in my daily routine, because if he's not at school, he's pretty much around me, on me, over me, involved in cleaning, cooking, everything. So it also reflects what motivates me and the exciting new products I'm using and trying. My post generates an overwhelming response from users, particularly on how they can apply those resources to their own lives. How do I motivate myself, and how do I stay motivated? What made me become a health advocate? Where I buy my products from and what products I'm using. Digital media allows us to connect, and although we are connecting differently, we are still connecting. So the problem that I was faced with was that not everyone has the same opportunities to connect with the people around them. Some people might be living in rural areas, or they may not have the tools to know how to connect with others outside of their circumstances in unfamiliar spaces, which was exactly what I was like when I was in the depths of my anxiety and depression. Sorry, there's a fly around. When I was in the depths of my depression and anxiety, I did not know how to connect, and social media was my only outlet on how I could actually connect with others and try and find solutions for myself. So that was my problem, which I would like to address and let everyone know that's where I started from. When I was trapped in my own circumstances, most of my motivation came from digital media. It meant I didn't need to step out of my comfort zone. I didn't need to experience panic attacks. I didn't need to worry about overthinking my situations or engage in circumstances that caused me potential harm. Although not all of the content I came across on forums I joined were 100% positive or true, the digital media world gave me an opportunity to make connections surrounding my own mental health. Most importantly, it showed me how I was not alone. It gave me the ability to look deeper into my circumstances and explore myself in my own space. Self-care was a huge part of this, and using nutrition as self-care was the turning point. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in my talk for nutrition used as self-care. I strongly believe there are other women in my position, and I can see a huge need for an online wellness hub. And although that I will not be taking or addressing the wellness hub today or promoting or selling myself, which I will cut that out of my my speech, I found a lot of comfort in connecting with social media platforms that was able to give me encouragement and the tools I needed to progress to where I am now, which is anxiety and depression free, a qualified nutritionist, and also a mental well-being advocate. And my particular interest is in preconception to postnatal care. And the reason for that was because I was browsing social media one day when I wasn't in my best mind frame, and I came across this inspirational quote, and it really, the whole backstory was a it was a concept that was so beautifully complex when I reflect on it now. And the quote was, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." Now, when I get really emotional when I even think about it, because it's such a topic to my heart. But don't get me wrong, like, there's nothing wrong with wishing for something. Like, wishing allows us to walk through life with a purpose. Without it, we wouldn't have goals. We would stand still and we would simply just exist, which is what I was doing, trapped in that depression and anxiety state. My biggest wish was to become a mother. Nothing came close to the idea of nurturing a life inside of my body, but to achieve this wish, this deep desire, I had to completely change my life and change my relationship with food. So I was browsing social media, and that quote kept on ringing this bell in my head. And then I came across another quote that said, "If you don't choose to take action, nothing will ever change." Now, for some people, they'll be like, "Oh, these memes, cool, not cool, don't really pay attention to them." But for a lot of people, memes and inspirational quotes really, really changed their day. If someone's having a really bad day and they're reflecting on all those things that are happening in their life, and they see this inspirational quote from someone, who's been there, has done that, has walked that road, it actually means a lot. So a bit of backstory about me is, in utero, my mum did not have a really good gut microbiome, and I was put on formula as soon as I was born, due to her inability to breastfeed, which changes the way the gut microbiome works. So from there, I was diagnosed with endometriosis at 12, hypothyroidism at 14, irregular periods at 16, depression at 17, bipolar disorder at 20, stage 4 Hashimoto's disease by 22, and anxiety disorder by 28. In that time, between all the hormonal changes, the painkillers, the antidepressants, the mood swings, the numbness, the blackouts, the panic attacks, the bad choices, the lack of self-esteem, the loss of self-worth, everything led me to one question: what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Because nothing ever seemed to work out. Like, I could not find a balance. My early 20s, I spent in a down spiral of depression, anxiety, addiction, self-harm. My weight decreased from 79 kgs to a very tiny 52 kgs between the ages of 17 and 24. Drug addiction. The list just goes on. Just to find some sort of answer or some sort of way to cope with what was going on. I've seen wonderful GPs, thyroid specialists, gynecologists, numerous counsellors and psychologists who all contributed to a very complex puzzle, but the most important part of this puzzle was never addressed until I started studying nutrition medicine and holistic health. Suddenly, after only 2 months in, I started fitting together the last piece of the puzzle, which actually changed my entire life. I saw wonderful nutritionists in the clinic that I was conducting my clinic hours, and made 2 changes, which a series of other changes followed. But the 2 changes I made that changed my life was supporting my gut health and addressing my magnesium deficiency. Within literally 3 days of getting a magnesium supplement into my system, I had no more hypervigilance, no more anxiety attacks, no more panic attacks. My depression, my paranoia, everything it was like it was magic. It disappeared. So I feel really strongly about gut health and magnesium as a treatment option for people going through the same thing. And I would like to have other healthcare professionals and industry professionals consider that there is a larger picture than just seeing someone for their half an hour and giving them coping mechanisms, or seeing someone for a consult for 10 minutes and not knowing the backstory, not knowing what, my mother, what was wrong when, I was in her womb all the way through my infancy, and all the things I was diagnosed, and the fact is, if none of those things get taken in consideration and nutritional support is not given in a holistic approach where, to each individual's needs, then things won't change. Because how I'm reacting to things is not how you will be reacting, or how to any other patient or client that I see through my clinic interacts like. But with 100% certainty, each and every person who is presented with anxiety disorder in my clinic, who has been prescribed magnesium, change has happened. Incredible change that has not happened by using pharmaceuticals or going to a counselor or anything like that. Yes, those people help create an amazing foundation in coping skills and, getting you through that little bit of giving you that little bit of extra energy to push through, but it doesn't solve what is actually going on and why it's going on and why things are happening in our gut health. So I'm going over time. It's 11 minutes in, but yeah, so I'm pretty much just going to address the simple things that changed my life and how nutrition was a huge part of that, because without nutrition, I honestly wouldn't be here today. I would have had more autoimmune conditions. I've already been so far. I wouldn't even have my little boy. I have a 2-year-old I was blessed with after countless of scopes, countless of laparoscopies, countless of gynecologist appointments, countless of doctor's appointments. The list goes on. Like, it was quite a traumatic time for me, and I was dealing with that separate to all of the anxiety and depression. So yes, I can't really promote my business or anything like that. I completely understand, but yes, I really hope that the information I can provide at the seminar will give you a little bit more of an insight on how I can influence others in my situation.